The ballroom glittered with chandeliers, polished marble, and the quiet tension of powerful people pretending to like each other. At the farthest corner, Elia adjusted the silver tray in her hands, the warmth of the champagne glasses bleeding into her skin. She kept her head down, lips pressed into a thin line as she maneuvered between politicians, heirs, socialites, and billionaires who didn't know her name, and never would. Dios ko, whispered Mia, her fellow waitress, glancing nervously toward the grand staircase. Nandian na ang CEO ng Villanueva Corporation. Elia didn't look. She didn't have to. The atmosphere shifted. The air itself seemed to tighten as Lázaro Villanueva descended the steps in a crisp black suit, tailored so sharply it could cut through bone. His presence was like a drop of ink in water, calm, contained, but impossible to ignore. He wasn't just powerful. He was dangerous in the quiet way knives were before they sliced. He rejected another blind date last week, Mia murmured, stepping closer. That's what? The 7th this year? Elia let out a soft snort. Maybe he's waiting for an angel to fall from the sky. Or maybe he has a black heart and no woman wants it. But Elia wasn't interested in rich men or their tragedies. She had a shift to finish, rent to pay, and dreams she'd buried a long time ago. Then disaster struck. As she turned to refill glasses near the main table, her elbow barely brushed a napkin. But it was enough. A champagne flute wobbled, then tumbled with a sickening clink onto the designer gown of Isabel Cortez, the governor's daughter. The very woman rumored to be Lázaro's next blind date. Gasps rippled. Cameras clicked. Time slowed. Elia froze, horror creeping up her spine like ice. You clumsy waitress. Isabel's voice was a whip. Do you know how much this dress costs? I'm sorry, let me help. Don't touch me. Isabel jerked back as if Elia's hands were made of disease. The entire room had turned to watch. The hotel manager's face paled. PR reps panicked. A scandal, right in the middle of a billion-peso merger event. Elia, her supervisor hissed, grabbing her arm. You're done. Get out before she calls the press. And through the mess, Lázaro watched. He hadn't said a word, but his obsidian eyes locked on Elia's figure, small, trembling, yet not crumbling. She stood there like a soldier in a losing war, one hand clutching the tray, the other stained with spilled champagne. Her pride shredded, but her spine unbroken. Their eyes met just for a second, and he felt something shift. Not attraction, not sympathy, but a faint, unfamiliar stir. Curiosity. Who was she? In the back corridor, Elia sat on an overturned supply box, pressing her fists into her thighs. Her breathing was sharp, controlled. Rage simmered under her skin, but so did humiliation. Her father used to say, Kung hindi mo kayang itazong boses mo, tazen mo ang tinjan mo sa sarili mo. Well, she hadn't screamed, but she hadn't begged either. Still, tonight, she'd be remembered only as that clumsy girl. And once again, she'd fade into the background while the powerful played their cruel games. Inside the ballroom, the chaos had calmed. Isabel, still fuming, stood beside Lázaro with a forced smile for the cameras. I want her fired, she said under her breath. How dare someone like her? Leave her alone. She blinked. What? Lázaro's voice was quiet, measured, but it carried the weight of finality. I said, leave her alone. It was an accident. Isabel's smile cracked. Are you defending a waitress over me? His jaw tightened. I'm not defending anyone. I just don't tolerate useless drama. And with that, he walked away, toward the corridor where Elia had disappeared. Backstage, Elia stood, ready to walk home in shame, when a voice, deep and smooth as velvet laced with steel, cut through the hallway. Waitress. She turned. Lázaro. He was just a few feet away, closer than she'd ever imagined him. In real life, he wasn't just cold, he was unknowable. Yet now he was standing in front of her like a question she never meant to answer. I know who you are, he said. Elia tensed. If this is about the spill, I already... You didn't cause the scandal, he interrupted. Someone leaked footage. Isabel was already in hot water. She stared at him. Then why let me take the fall? His silence spoke volumes. He had let her suffer. And now he was here. Too late. Too calm. You're sharp, he finally said. Most people crumble in humiliation. You didn't. Her lip curled. Is that supposed to be a compliment? No. It's an observation. He stepped closer. And maybe an opportunity. She blinked. What kind of opportunity? His gaze was unreadable. One that starts with you serving something stronger than champagne. A pause. You want me to what? Work for you? Not just work, he said. I want to know why you didn't cry. Elia stared at him. Why? She asked, voice low. Because you've met women who cry and beg? He didn't answer. But something flickered in his expression. An old wound, maybe. Or a mirror he didn't like looking into. And in that moment, Elia saw it. He wasn't just the cold CEO who rejected women. He was a man searching for something real in a world that had long sold itself fake. Elia didn't return to work the next day. Instead, she spent the morning scrubbing the same kitchen counter twice and ignoring every call from her manager. Her humiliation from the night before still clung to her skin like cheap perfume. Every detail replayed in her mind. The crash of glass, the sneering laughter, Isabel's voice dripping with disgust, and his eyes, calm and unreadable, watching her like a riddle he suddenly wanted to solve. Then came the message, delivered not by her supervisor, but by a man in a crisp black suit who showed up at the apartment she shared with her aunt in Quezon City. Elia Sarmiento? The man asked. She stiffened. Sino Pasila? I'm from Villanueva Corporation. He handed her an envelope sealed with black wax. You've been requested. Tonight. 7 p.m. Address and attire enclosed. Before she could reply, he was gone. 6:58 p.m. She stood in front of the glass tower of Villanueva Corporation, her breath catching in her throat. This is a mistake, she told herself. I should walk away. But she didn't. The lobby was sleek and cold, like the man who owned it. Mirrors, metal, and silence. Elia Sarmiento. Appointment with Mr. Villanueva, she told the receptionist, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. The receptionist blinked in surprise, then nodded. He's expecting you. She was escorted not to an office, but to a private rooftop lounge lit by gold-tinted lamps and the glow of the Manila skyline. And there he was, Lázaro Villanueva, in a black turtleneck and slacks, leaning against the railing like a man who owned the world but didn't know what to do with it anymore. You came, he said, not looking at her. Elia folded her arms. Is this your version of an apology? He turned to her, one brow raised. I don't apologize. She laughed, short, sharp. Of course not. CEOs don't need to. You're angry. No, she replied, stepping closer. I'm realistic. This, whatever this is not a fairy tale, Mr. Villanueva. I'm a hotel waitress. You're the guy on the cover of business magazines. We don't belong in the same sentence. But you're in it now, he said quietly. Their eyes locked again. This time, there was no champagne spill. No scandal. Just silence between two people who didn't expect to meet but couldn't seem to look away. He nodded to the table. Sit. One dinner. That's all. Elia hesitated. Her instincts screamed caution, but her pride whispered, don't walk away just because you're afraid. She sat. Over dinner, the atmosphere shifted. There were no cameras. No staff. Just plates of adobo glazed salmon, soft jazz, and the sound of two guarded people slowly cracking open. You've turned down every blind date for 2 years, she said, eyes narrowing. Why me? Lázaro leaned back, studying her. Because you don't try to impress me. That's your standard? No, he said. It's my escape. Elia shook her head. You're either lonely or deeply bored. Both, he admitted. But that's not your problem. The question is, why haven't you left yet? That stopped her. She stared at her plate, then at him. Because I've spent most of my life being invisible. And now the man who could ruin or rewrite everything I know is sitting across from me, asking questions no one ever dared to. A beat of silence. Then Lazaro said, I want to offer you something. Here we go, she muttered. Let me guess, money? A job? An NDA? No, he said. A proposition. She tensed. If this is about, pretend to be my girlfriend, he said flatly. For 30 days. No strings. No pressure. Just presence. Her jaw dropped. Are you serious? I'm being hounded by board members and investors demanding I settle down for good. They think a grounded woman will fix my public image. He paused. I think you might break it in exactly the right way. Elias stood. I'm not some story you spin to fix your empire, Lazaro. I know. Then why me? Because, he said softly, you made me feel something. The rooftop went quiet again. Her heart thudded painfully in her chest. She wanted to slap him. She wanted to believe him. But mostly, she wanted to walk away before she became another line in his endless script. And yet, deep down, she also wanted to know what would happen if she said yes. Elia's fingers trembled as she reached for the rooftop door handle. Her reflection stared back from the glass, red lips, tied back hair, and the one black dress she kept in her closet for funerals or borrowed confidence. What are you doing here? She wasn't a blind date. She wasn't anyone. And yet, here she was, answering an invitation from him. She opened the door. And the world changed. The rooftop was nothing like she expected. No fancy lighting. No orchestra. Just a single table set for two under soft fairy lights and the open Manila sky. The city buzzed below, unaware of the strange game unfolding high above it. Lazaro was already there. Black shirt. No tie. Sleeves rolled up to his elbows. Casual, but no less intimidating. You came, he said, standing. I almost didn't, she replied. But you did. You're used to people saying yes to you, aren't you? He smirked. I'm used to people pretending they're not terrified of me. Elia walked past him, head high. Then tonight will be refreshing for both of us. They sat. The food was untouched. The silence, electric. He poured wine. So, what's your story? She blinked. You invited me here. You tell me something first. He raised a brow. You think you can bargain with me? I think, she said evenly, that if you wanted obedience, you'd have picked one of your usual blind dates. For a moment, the corners of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Fine, he said. My father built Villanueva Global. I took it at 22. I've fired more executives than I've dated women. And I stopped believing in real connection the day my mother walked out on us. Elia wasn't expecting that. Your turn, he added. She hesitated. Then, my dad's in jail. My mom left when I was 15. I worked 3 jobs to get my brother through school. I don't do pity, and I don't like being underestimated. He stared at her, something raw flickering in his eyes. I knew there was a reason you caught my attention, he murmured. Because I dropped wine on your date? No, he said softly. Because you walked through fire and didn't ask anyone to carry you. Dinner went untouched. But the conversation burned. They talked about everything and nothing. The world faded. Only stolen glances, the clinking of glasses, the rising tension between two people who shouldn't fit, but somehow did. Then suddenly, you do know this isn't a date, Elia said, voice brittle. I didn't ask you here to seduce you. Good. Because I don't mix work and whatever this is. And yet, here you are. That doesn't mean I trust you. Lazaro leaned forward, eyes sharp. Good. I don't trust myself either. Something in his tone chilled her. Like a warning. Or a confession. What happened to you? She asked, quieter now. I lost something once, he replied. And I stopped playing games with my heart after that. She should have walked away then. But something tethered her to the moment. Tell me, she said. Lazaro looked at her. Really looked. Then, after a long pause, she told me she loved me, right before selling my company's secrets to my biggest rival. Elia's breath caught. And you've never trusted a woman since. He gave a single nod. Until you. Maybe. That silence again. Thicker now. Heavier. She didn't know if she was drawn to him or already falling. And then his phone buzzed. One look at the screen, and the air shifted. He stood, jaw clenched. I have to go. What is it? She asked. He hesitated. Something I thought I buried. And just like that, he was gone. Elia had no idea why she followed him. But something in Lazaro's eyes, sharp and haunted, drew her out of the rooftop and into the night. Her heels clicked against the marble floors of the executive wing as she trailed his long, purposeful strides. Lazaro, she called, her voice catching. Wait, what's going on? He stopped in front of a sleek black elevator and turned his head slightly, the way someone does when they're deciding whether to pull you in or shut you out. You shouldn't be here, he said coldly. She crossed her arms. You invited me. That was before this. The elevator opened. He stepped in. She stepped in too. Neither of them spoke as the doors closed. The silence was deafening. When the doors opened, they weren't in the hotel anymore. They had descended to the private basement, Lazaro's personal domain. Elia had heard whispers of this level. No guests. No cameras. Just the CEO's inner sanctum and secrets no one dared ask about. He walked ahead, his shoulders rigid. She followed, uncertain but steady, until he stopped in front of a vault-like steel door. He pressed his thumb to the scanner. Click. The door opened with a hiss. Inside was a modern command center. Walls of screens, files stacked neatly, and one long digital table displaying market feeds, security logs, and a single blinking folder. Confidential breach. Code 7 read. Lazaro's jaw tightened. She's back. Elia's blood chilled. Who? He turned to face her. The woman I told you about. The one who betrayed me. My ex-fiancé. What does she want? She didn't just sell my secrets. She disappeared with millions in cryptocurrency and the prototype of something we never made public. Elia swallowed. And now? She's resurfaced. In Manila. And you think she's after your company again? He gave a mirthless laugh. She never stopped. This is just her first move. Elia stared at the screen, heart racing. Suddenly, everything about Lazaro made more sense. The control. The coldness. The walls he built so tall even he forgot how to leave them. You trust me enough to bring me here? She asked. No, he said. But I trust my instincts. And they keep bringing me back to you. The admission hit harder than it should have. He stepped closer, his voice softer now. You're not like the others. You don't want my money. You don't flinch when I'm angry. And you don't pretend I'm someone I'm not. Elia swallowed hard, pulse hammering. But you still haven't answered why you brought me down here. Lazaro turned back to the screen. Because I need someone I can't buy. Someone who doesn't owe me anything. He pulled up a hotel log and pointed. She's here. Checked in under a fake name. She's watching me. Maybe watching you too. Elia took a step back. You think I'm a target? I think, he said slowly, you're the only unpredictable piece in this game. And that makes you dangerous to her. Suddenly, the screen blinked. New footage. A hallway. A woman in a red coat. Elia leaned forward. It was her. Sasha Valencia. The woman who shattered Lazaro Villanueva. Now walking straight toward the floor where Elia lived. Elia barely made it into her room before her knees gave out. The cold marble floor pressed against her palms as she tried to catch her breath. Her heart was racing. Not from fear, but from truth. Lazaro had dragged her into a war she didn't start. But somehow she wasn't ready to walk away. Her phone buzzed. Unknown. She's closer than you think. Get out while you still can. She dropped the phone like it burned her. Meanwhile, 3 floors above, Lazaro's fists slammed into the steel tabletop. His security team looked shaken. Useless. The footage looped again. Sasha, the woman who had once whispered forever in his ear, now walking freely through his hotel with nothing but a red coat and a smug tilt to her lips. He barked. How did she bypass facial recognition? She may have undergone biometric surgery, the guard stammered. We're verifying now. I don't need verifications, he snapped. I need results. He dismissed the team and leaned over the table, palms braced against the cold steel. His eyes drifted toward Alia's profile on screen, her personnel file, surveillance photos, even a candid shot from the rooftop that night. There was something about her, something dangerous, but not in the way Sasha was. Elia was unpredictable because she made him feel human again. And in this world, feeling was a liability. Back in her room, Alia's door burst open. A man in a black suit stepped inside without knocking. "Ma'am, I'm assigned to your protection detail. CEO Villanueva's orders." "Do I look like a princess to you?" she snapped. "Tell your boss I don't need bodyguards, I need answers." Before he could respond, Lazaro's voice echoed behind her. "Then ask me directly." Elia turned. He stood in the doorway, drenched in tension. Shirt unbuttoned at the collar. Shadows under his eyes. He looked like a man being unmade from the inside. "You dragged me into your mess," she hissed. "You brought me down to that bunker, showed me your ghosts, and now someone's threatening me? She's targeting you because of me. And whose fault is that?" Elia stepped forward, fire in her eyes. "Don't turn this into a guilt trip, Lazaro. I'm not one of your trembling board members." His voice dropped, lethal and low. "No, you're not. That's why I can't stop thinking about you." Silence. Sharp. Charged. Then he moved closer. Inches between them now. "She's coming after you," he said. "Not because you're weak, but because you're the only woman I've looked at and not seen a threat." Alia's breath caught. "So, what do you see?" He didn't answer. Instead, he leaned in and she almost leaned back. But her voice broke the spell. "Do you still love her?" Lazaro froze. The air turned colder. "Because if this is revenge," she whispered, "I won't be your distraction. I won't be your pawn." His jaw flexed. "I don't love her. I don't even hate her. I want to bury her." "And me?" she asked. Lazaro looked at her. Truly looked. "You're the only variable I didn't plan for." Suddenly, the lights flickered. A blackout. Lazaro grabbed her wrist. "Stay behind me." The emergency lights bathed the hallway in blood-red glow. Then a scream. A woman's voice. One floor above. He pulled Elia into the service stairwell and barked orders into his comms. "Lock all exits. We're being hunted." "She's inside already, isn't she?" Elia whispered. "Sasha." Lazaro nodded grimly. "But why now?" Elia asked. "Why tonight?" He didn't answer. Because deep down, he already knew. Elia barely made it into her room before her knees gave out. The cold marble floor pressed against her palms as she tried to catch her breath. Her heart was racing, not from fear, but from truth. Lazaro had dragged her into a war she didn't start. But somehow she wasn't ready to walk away. Her phone buzzed. "Unknown. She's closer than you think. Get out while you still can." She dropped the phone like it burned her. Meanwhile, 3 floors above, Lazaro's fists slammed into the steel tabletop. His security team looked shaken. Useless. The footage looped again. Sasha, the woman who had once whispered forever in his ear, now walking freely through his hotel with nothing but a red coat and a smug tilt to her lips. He barked. How did she bypass facial recognition? "She may have undergone biometric surgery," the guard stammered. "We're verifying now." "I don't need verifications," he snapped. "I need results." He dismissed the team and leaned over the table, palms braced against the cold steel. His eyes drifted toward Alia's profile on screen, her personnel file, surveillance photos, even a candid shot from the rooftop that night. There was something about her, something dangerous, but not in the way Sasha was. Elia was unpredictable because she made him feel human again. And in this world, feeling was a liability. Back in her room, Alia's door burst open. A man in a black suit stepped inside without knocking. "Ma'am, I'm assigned to your protection detail. CEO Villanueva's orders." "Do I look like a princess to you?" she snapped. "Tell your boss I don't need bodyguards, I need answers." Before he could respond, Lazaro's voice echoed behind her. "Then ask me directly." Elia turned. He stood in the doorway, drenched in tension. Shirt unbuttoned at the collar. Shadows under his eyes. He looked like a man being unmade from the inside. You dragged me into your mess, she hissed. You brought me down to that bunker, showed me your ghosts, and now someone's threatening me? She's targeting you because of me. And whose fault is that? Elia stepped forward, fire in her eyes. Don't turn this into a guilt trip, Lazaro. I'm not one of your trembling board members. His voice dropped, lethal and low.
No.
You're not. That's why I can't stop thinking about you. Silence. Sharp. Charged. Then he moved closer. Inches between them now. She's coming after you, he said. Not because you're weak, but because you're the only woman I've looked at and not seen a threat. Elia's breath caught. So, what do you see? He didn't answer. Instead, he leaned in and she almost leaned back. But her voice broke the spell. Do you still love her? Lazaro froze. The air turned colder. Because if this is revenge, she whispered, I won't be your distraction. I won't be your pawn. His jaw flexed. I don't love her. I don't even hate her. I want to bury her. And me? She asked. Lazaro looked at her. Truly looked. You're the only variable I didn't plan for. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A blackout. Lazaro grabbed her wrist. Stay behind me. The emergency lights bathed the hallway in blood-red glow. Then a scream. A woman's voice. One floor above. He pulled Elia into the service stairwell and barked orders into his comms. Lock all exits. We're being hunted. She's inside already, isn't she? Elia whispered. Sasha. Lazaro nodded grimly. But why now? Elia asked. Why tonight? He didn't answer. Because deep down he already knew.